Hello, my name is Oscar. I study at the Pan American University of Puerto in the Faculty of Education and Humanities School of Modern Languages. In today's video, I am joined by Sofi, and we're going to have a little debate regarding the benefits and downsides to technology in everyday lives, in the modern life. So to begin, I would like to propose a claim that represents maybe the negative aspects of technology, which is technology is making people socially distant from both their personal relationships and strangers, potential potential relationships that they may have. And what I mean with this claim is that technology has become a platform for interconnectivity along, or let's say worldwide connectivity, and via social media or social media platforms, to be specific. And we are currently experiencing a period in time where complete and anonymous strangers are interacting every day on these platforms. And there is a component of this this anonymous quality to these interactions that have taken a toll on values, on traditional cultural values like courtesy, respect, and such. So people are, especially in these past few years, in really recent and modern times, the online presence has been increasing a lot for a diverse group of people of many categories of ages. And this has resulted in a certain loss of these cultural values like respect and courtesy, especially when speaking to strangers online. So these interactions are garnering a lot of certain ways of thinking. We are experiencing more radicalization on schools of thought in the political spectrum, for example, because of the way that people are consuming information and interacting with each other. So, in conclusion to my argument, technology has allowed for some amazing advancements in communication, but there is a certain negative aspect to how the main communication that we see every day in online media platforms and social media is affecting the way that we treat each other, the way that we consume information, and the way that we actually think, because of how these platforms are additionally using negative and emotion inducing tactics in their algorithms to draw people into using their platform for longer periods of time because of revenue and publicity arrangements and such, monetization. So that's what I would say about technology affecting us negatively in that aspect. What do you think, Sophie?
All right, Oscar. Hello, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I
Thank you, Sophie.
definitely get, I definitely get your point in terms of how technology has changed so much in our lives. But I also think, as you previously said, that technology has changed humans' lives completely. And in so many of those cases, I think it has also been quite beneficial. Like, for example, right now we are literally having a call that wouldn't have been possible ever quite some years ago, basically. And I think the way that technology has made it more easy to communicate with one another has been something that should not be ignored, right? I do get that you are talking about how technology has affected the way that we get along with each other and the way our relationships are built. And that's why I also think that it is important for technologies to have very important or strict, more strict regulations in that sense to prevent something like people that are anonymous interacting with other people that could provide some harm to them. I think it is important, and I know that companies um, try to take care of that as well in terms of having some regulations in their platforms for that to not happen, right? There's also another types of or methods that are being applied in many different parts of the world. For example, if you see in Australia, they had made it very clear that for people that are younger than 15 years old, it is not recommended, and in fact, it is prohibited to use social media platforms. But I definitely believe that technology has had a lot of benefits to humanity, and for me, the biggest one of them is definitely with the way that we communicate and the opportunities we can also get previously to be recognized or to find a job or to in overall cases find greater opportunities. It was quite hard. It was not as easy as now with social media platforms or with other type of websites, that thanks to those platforms, normal people that doesn't come from a wealthy background or from a privileged background, perhaps, have a greater chance to be known around the world and to also interact with other people. Of course, it is important to remain respectful in those cases, but I think that for that matter, it has it has given people a greater opportunity to actually grow both professionally and in other aspects of their lives. And I think it's just a matter of taking technology seriously enough to know that it's a great tool, but also something that, of course, you need to be careful with. I don't know what you think about that.
Sophie, I think you raised some strong points. You are definitely right in, of course, of the many benefits that we can see from technology, especially in the communication and networking area that we are discussing, or the networking that you propose as a wonderful way that technology is factually improving people's lives, and with greater possibilities of obtaining jobs, or connecting with the right people to do so, or to simply have communication opportunities that would be impossible without the technology that we currently have. And I personally agree with you totally, in especially in the point you raised about regulation on, especially on internet access for minors. I believe that both you and me saw the dawn, let's say, of the internet in our era, and
Yeah.
maybe we could categorize that like a sort of wild west, to say, to make an
Yeah.
analogy here, and regulations were very little. Everyone had access to everything, and and well, people weren't prepared for the juggernaut and colossal thing that the internet and that possibility of connection was going to represent. So I think that technology as you also said, is a tool, and a tool we couldn't say that is objectively good or bad, but it all comes down to how it's used and how it's regulated. So I think that's a wonderful conclusion to take away from this conversation. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the important thing here is not to see technology as an enemy, which is something that a lot of people could be feeling right now, with especially a lot of things that are currently happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is important to see it as what it was initially intended as a great tool to make our lives easier, because it's not only about communication. There's a lot of tasks that previously usually took a lot of time to complete, and thanks to technology we can make it a little bit easier to complete those tasks. And it is just a matter of being intentional with technology. I think that's the takeaway from this little debate. I think that's the most important thing, to have an intentional use of technology. Know that it's a tool that can be both good, but it can also be harmful if it is used in the wrong way. I think that's what's most important here.
I totally agree, Sophie. Well, I think we can conclude our conversation on that note. I just need to thank you thoroughly for joining me today, and I love having this
No
conversation with
problem.
you and hearing your insights, which were very thought provoking and mm, and perfectly conveyed. So thanks a lot, Sophie, for joining me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.